Díomh agus fáilte arás to the Crazy House Prices podcast. This is a podcast where I dive deep into the Irish housing market. I'm your host, Ciarán Mulqueen, and today I'm excited to introduce a brand new style of podcast where I chat with different individuals about their journey towards buying their first home or their own home. This is episode 10 of the Crazy House Prices podcast, but the first in this kind of new style, and it features the hilarious and entertaining comedian Tony Cantwell, who shares his unique experience and insights on purchasing his own home. Tony's an old friend of mine, and in my opinion, one of the funniest comedians in the country right now. I've been listening to Tony's podcast, the Tony Cantwell Hit Show, I think since day one, since it launched. Tony could read the dictionary to me and I would find it hilarious. So this is a lively and engaging conversation, and Tony tells us about how he achieved success by bypassing the mortgage broker altogether and going directly to the bank. And he shares a really interesting tale of outbidding a cash buyer, which is rare, to secure his home, all while managing to go sale agreed from first viewing within just 5 short weeks. So sit back and enjoy. I just want to pause the podcast for a moment to talk to you about a company called Beat the Bank. So the stress of organising mortgage protection just got a whole lot easier with beatthebank.ie. This amazing Irish company offers the guaranteed lowest price for mortgage protection in the country, and it's not just for first-time buyers. You can switch your own mortgage protection anytime and enjoy the benefits of their market-leading discounts. I, along with hundreds of my Instagram followers, have used Beat the Bank, and the feedback has been amazing over the last 12 months. With their 100% end-to-end digital experience, quoting and applying for mortgage protection has never been easier. You can get a quote in seconds and apply in minutes, without the hassle of unwanted sales calls or any paperwork. So visit beatthebank.ie today and protect your mortgage with ease and peace of mind. Beat the Bank saves you time and money on mortgage protection, whether you're a first-time buyer or looking to switch. They've also just launched income protection and life insurance on the site too. And if you have a house or are renting and are planning to buy, you need to consider protecting your income. So check out beatthebank.ie. Now, back to the podcast. I'd say you'll be shocked at how interested people are in the story of buying your house, because it's something that people feel like they can't do. You know, they feel like it's impossible. They're not able to do it. So to be able
that's definitely what we felt. And what's so weird about it is I kind of thought it'd be like a passing interest. I'm like, I'm only interested in this whole gaff thing because I'm getting my gaff. Now I have the gaff and I'm still like fucking stopping by, like, sorry, I don't mean to be swearing so much. This is your pod, not mine. But walking by like estate agents and looking at the prices of the gaffs, and I'm still on daft. Like, I have the gaff. I can't believe that this passing interest is still kind of lingered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Wild.
Anyway, I didn't do a proper introduction there, so thanks for this, Tony.
You're welcome.
And I just think it's a fascinating subject when people can buy their own house, and especially someone who's self-employed. So we might just kind of run through start to finish, and hopefully you can add a bit of humor to it, because my podcast is probably the most depressing podcast in the Spotify charts. But I think
I even find when you post stuff online and you're like, ha ha ha, can you believe the gowl on this, like, or the cheek of this landlord? But it is the saddest thing you've
man.
And like, there's emojis can go so far, but it is like, it's bleak out there.
And that's but you want to see my DMs, fucking hell, and it's years of it. It's very depressing. But anyway, this is a more positive episode. Right, talk me through it. When did you start looking? Seriously, start looking? Because I know most people would kind of browse, but then you're really serious about it when you actually start, like, getting your pay slips together or whatever, and talking to a mortgage advisor. So when did you start looking properly?
Well, I mean, this is something. So properly looking, within the last 6 months. Before that, though, it was like 10 years we've been wanting to get.
Yeah.
And I was staying in, we lived in London.
Yeah.
And it's probably good we didn't get it then, because we would have ended up setting up roots in London. But like, I was in the sales job and I was in it, and I was trying to move up the rungs to inflate my earnings to get to be able to get a mortgage, and actually I was in this job, and then I remember, like, I think it was 10 years ago, I got sacked at Christmas from this sales job. And I remember the first thing thinking was like, I'm not going to be able to get a mortgage. It was the first, it was like 10 years ago. And then eventually I found this other job, and I'd actually put comedy by the wayside, because I was like, I'm not going to be able to get a gaff. If I want to set up a family. I've met someone I love, and I want to grow a family with, this person, my wife, Terry. And there's no way I'm going to be able to do this comedy thing. So it was like, it was gaff. Like the gaff is like the waypoint, and it affects so much of your decisions,
Totally.
and like your opportunities and your freedom,
It-
and then when I actually we moved back to Dublin, and I was let go from that job, just because I tried to work remotely, and this is before COVID, before there was kind of like systems of working from home and all this. It just wasn't working out. And then when I got sacked from that, again the thought was, how am I going to get a gaff,
Yeah.
But what I'd been told was that you need 3 years of accounts as a self-employed person. I think it's actually 2.
Yeah.
Um,
Most do 2 years, some do three, but most are kind of doing 2 years. So that's the thing. Like, and I'm always banging on about, because I come from a family of entrepreneurs, hence why I became a teacher, because I saw how difficult it is for them. But it's really tough, and it's almost like you're treated like you're some sort of leper or something in Ireland by lenders when you're self-employed. You have to jump through so many hoops. So how did you find a more? By the way, 6 months like must be a record. So fair play on that. That
well,
was going from like, sorry, go on, yeah.
Well, I'll shrink that even more. So from when we actually started, from when we were still in the process of being kind of mortgage approved, from when we actually found our first, from when our first viewing to when we bought was 5 weeks.
Wow.
So that's even more, incredible that we were so lucky, because it was but I can get onto that in a second, and actually moving in and the actual buying process. But in terms of looking, I assumed, because I was self-employed, that the regular banks weren't, open to me. That I had heard Ulster Bank was good for self-employed kind of people, and then I was at,
They left.
and then when they left, I was like, all right, that doesn't seem like, and then so then we went through a broker, and we were trying to go with, there was a couple of options. I don't even know, and I'm so glad actually as well that my memory of even the ones that we didn't go with has jettisoned from my mind. My mind completely freed up that information. Was like, that is just porn I need to delete on my hard drive. That's just gone now. Do you know what I mean? I don't need that in my head anymore. So but I don't remember who was with a broker, and that was proven to be a lengthy process of a lot of back and forth, getting all our ducks in a row. And then eventually my dad just said, have you not just tried AIB? And I'm like, gonna do it. Like, they're not gonna have me do all that. And I did do AIB, and it was probably the easiest. That's when things started getting easy, was when we went with AIB.
And you went direct then instead of using a broker?
We went direct instead of using a broker. Yeah. We were doing the broker, and the broker was lovely. And I've kind of ghosted the broker now, because they're like, "What's the story? You still moving in?" And I'm like, I don't want to talk anymore about that. I'm fulfilled, romantically now, and I don't want this relationship anymore, lady broker. But like, the brokers are good, and the broker had basically helped 2 of my mates. Now, sorry, I don't know, I'm jumping all over the place and how you normally do this, in order. But the reason we went with a broker is 2 of my mates had got this broker based in Fairview, and really sound dude. But I think why they wanted a broker was for, I think an adult man, just to be like, get your affairs in order.
Yeah.
Like, you look at this Revolut, what are all these costs? What they liked was essentially this drill sergeant of a mentor figure, to kind of whip their accounts into shape. So they were almost like viewing this person like some Chuck Norris of finance, where they're like, he came in here, he kicked my ass, but got our affairs in order.
Well, you're obviously following me so long that you just knew what to do anyway.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I did. Like, it genuinely helped. And I remember saying to Terry, I was like, I have a feeling that this is going to be an easy process, because I'm jammy. That's the thing as well.
Yeah.
I'm just jammy. Like, I land on my feet, right?
I'm like that too.
So many times, but I just tend to be jammy. Maybe that's just my outlook or whatever. But I was planning to do your thing of going door to door in the area that we like. And to be honest, this estate that we ended up in would have been the first route that we would have been walking through, to kind of go door to door and ask are there anything selling in the area.
And did you go north side or south side? Are you like me? Did you cross the Liffey?
I crossed the Liffey.
Yeah, same.
I left Marino. And
it's amazing what women will do to you, isn't it?
It's mad, isn't it? Yeah. But I was also, I don't know, I actually kind of, the reason I chose Southside was I did Northside, I did Northside for 22 years, and then or 21 years, and then I moved to London. And then when I came back, I just didn't want,
You
I didn't
completed
want to go
it.
back. Yeah, I did it, completed me. Yeah, got the trophy, got the platinum on that. And I just wanted a bit of a change. And I felt like moving back to London, if I moved back to the South Side, it was like a different town. And it kind of is. Well, it's all kind of the same now. Like everywhere, there's loads of nice places to eat. But when I left Dublin, it was like 2008, 2009. A panini was like fine cuisine. Need to actually bring back paninis. I love paninis. I don't know where they've gone. That was a big trend for a while. Everyone's moved on to sourdough bread. But
Yeah.
anyway, we moved south side. And but anyway, sorry, I want to get back on track, I suppose. Ask me another question about the process there.
Well, you went direct because I would always, like you said, I would always recommend people try a broker if it's their first time applying for mortgage, because there's a lot of shit you just don't know. But I guess it's not the most complicated thing in the world either. Once you kind of know what you need and what paperwork you need and stuff. So
Yeah.
so I do hear people having success either way. So it's great that worked for you. You got your mortgage approval, and as a self-employed person, an entrepreneur,
Thank
an
you.
award-winning comedian.
Thank you. Yeah.
You had 3 years of accounts, and what did
Yeah.
they do then? They took the average of all 3 years.
They did. I mean, they took the average of the 3 years, and then as well, they weren't going to take this in terms of. So they also wanted. I mean, you forget you're actually speaking to humans. That's a huge part of this, is that there are humans who make this decision. So anything you can throw at it in terms of even character references, work that you have coming in, it's not going to change the amount. It's not going to change the multiplier, the 3.5 multiplier of the actual mortgage, but it will. They can bet on you a bit more in terms of
Yeah, yeah.
approving the mortgage.
Well, they
And
want to
luckily,
give mortgages. Like, so like the mortgage advisor you're dealing with in the bank, they're not like a goalkeeper trying to stop you from scoring. They basically want you to give them as much info as you can, so that they can then give it to the underwriter, being like,
yeah.
look, he's a funny guy. I can't see him not being funny next year. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
And all the rest. So, but what about Terry? Without being too invasive, is she self-employed, or does she?
No, she works, in the civil service. So that's
Oh, yeah,
kind of,
that helps as well. Yeah.
we've got two ends of the,
Mm.
most reliable and least reliable, and then
Yeah.
hopefully we balance somewhere in the middle there.
Perfect.
So she had that working for us. What we also found was really beneficial with doing with AIB is that because we bank in AIB, when we had to do the broker, we had to give them everything. We had to go through absolutely
Oh,
everything.
yeah, they had all
And
your stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
and then because, we were going back and forth and things have started just working through emails. Like not a lot of people, like since COVID, people just do kind of phone calls and, they're used to that and are all through email. But when you're getting an email back and forth and you get an email back and it comes in at 4 o'clock and you're wrecked from the day and you got the kids there and it's a big list of all the stuff you need, that just goes, you're like, I can't even think about putting that list together right now. And then when you actually do eventually, by the end of the week, get that list together for the broker, all of your account stuff is out of date. And then you have to go back into your AIB app or whatever it is, ask for your accounts again, and then everything. So there was a huge process there of stuff being out of date, and then the other mortgage providers that they were looking for, which actually changed a lot. Like with the I don't remember the names of them, but like they were changing basically each week as the interest rates were going up.
Yeah.
And then we were told that it was it was going to be like 6 months to be even looked at for approval for some of them. To be underwritten, like 6 months just to even be seen. But we want to get on this one because it has the lower interest rate. But then by going with AIB, we ended up saving like, 1% or 1.5% on interest rates as well. And with AIB then, as it worked out, because they had all of our accounts, they didn't even request anything other than just, my earnings, backed up by an accountant. Really, that was it. That was the only kind of thing that they needed to see,
AIB need to be sponsoring your podcast.
They do. They do. They backed Brave.
Yeah.
Uh,
So you went down the kind of traditional route. Then you saw a house online, you started bidding or whatever. Were you in a bidding war, or were you the only person bidding? Did you buy like is it a fixer upper, or what's the story?
So we had notions originally. So I will also say I do want to highlight this because I do think it's important. We have been able to save a lot because we basically stayed in an apartment owned by my father-in-law and we saved a lot. He did it at a fairly decent price. Will be much lower than the rent that of anywhere in the area, so we were able to save as we did that, and we even had thoughts of at some point kind of buying those, this apartment, but that they did require a good bit of work, and looking into planning permission, which we did look at for a while because we were kind of thinking with my self-employed status, would it be possible to even get a mortgage? We were thinking of all different types of things, calling in every favor that we could to get a loan and everything. But having looked at all those all the building work that had to be done and getting quotes, and then those quotes going out of date and then getting new quotes, seeing the prices just going up and up and up, it was just terrifying. I think that idea of getting in somewhere, finding a fixer-upper and doing it up for even 100 grand is gone. That's just, I might come back, but I think you're looking at 250 grand minimum to do the baseline of any kind of work. You're kind of paying you're double the price. So we really didn't want to go for anything we'd have to fix up. Terry is very wise beyond her years to be like, no, that's going to cost us way more than you think, down the line. So again, we're fairly jammy. Like this, it was the second viewing that we went to. We saw this gaff that I'm in right now, and we were like, we hadn't really even been approved for the mortgage yet. Well, we were only approved that week. We were approved that week, and then we went to go view the property. And we were like, this is the one. Doesn't need the work we want to get done up. It's a lovely estate. It's quiet. It's in exactly around the corner from where we are, right beside the creche, right beside the schools that we'd already picked out ahead of time. Schools was always at the forefront of that decision. So then we were like, all right, how do we make this work? And it was beyond what we had saved. And we were trying to called everyone. So we just called everyone, called every family member and asked if we could, if we could get a loan, if we could get a gift. We were lucky enough to have parents who had savings, and they were able to say, okay, well, look, we can give you. And it wasn't much. We had saved a good chunk of the deposit, It was 1%, but it really helped us get over, up to the line we wanted to get. So then we put in the bid literally that day. And this was like, oh my God, we're really doing this here. Was really
it's a mad feeling, isn't it?
It's mad. It's that kind of you just step out now and you're like, all right, now this is really vulnerable. I actually really want this. And actually, I'm going to be really upset if I don't get it.
Yeah.
We called in every favor, and then we put in a bid, and the bidding process was weird. I thought, I assume, bidding process is like a disco, make yourself as clear as possible that you want it, and then you'll get it. But it actually is. Well, that's how I was so unsuccessful at disco. Is what it is to make sure you don't really want it. It's the same. It is the same kind of bargaining, but for me, it's like, I love you. Do you want me? Will you take me? So we bid. Then they came back with a counter bid 2 days later. We immediately came back with a bid, thinking that would be, even though everyone told us not to do that. We went back with a bid because we thought, oh, well, if we just go back straight away, they're going to think it might scare the other bidder away and all this kind of shit.
Too keen. You're too keen.
Yeah. That's the thing. That's what everyone told us, is you're too keen, and that we also don't know how the estate agent is ferrying this information. In fact, I don't even know if I believed that there was another bidder, and everyone told us this. Being
I was just about to say that. Now that you're in the house. Not to ruin it for you, but you reckon, yeah.
Well, this is why. So we were bidding back and forth for a while. They seemed to be taking 2 days every time, and then we were taking a second to bid back, And again, every time we bid, it was like having to also make another phone call to someone else to work out. At the moment, we're in a kind of situation where we have gifts and we have loans and we have kind of things we're going to have to gradually kind of pay back, baked into our mortgage payments as far as we're concerned. And it'll be a while since when we pay everyone back. But
and a second set of crash fees.
Yeah. Oh my God, the crash fees. It's like having another gaff.
Yeah, it actually is. It's another mortgage. Yeah. Sorry to ruin your. Yeah.
No, but it finding a good crash is part of it. It's kind of why we bought a gaff around the corner from the creche, which is insane. We bought a gaff around the corner from the other gaff we're paying every week. But anyway, so then I eventually was like, I'm just going to ask. He has to, he might tell me what the story is. And I'm like, who? And I said, who? He's like, do you want to bid again? And it was getting up far beyond what we could afford. And I said, who is the other bidder? Can you just tell me who the other bidder is? And the estate agent goes, well, he's a father buying for his daughter and he's paying cash.
Oh, Jesus.
What? So you're telling me that there's someone who's having to say back to his daughter, honey, they've gone up. Daddy, are you sure you can't buy me? That this whole dynamic, what? So he's going to disappoint his daughter. And if he has this sort of money in cash, then we have no hope. We're literally straining every single resource that we have, to get this. So I said, all right, whatever. And we didn't even give a bid.
Jesus.
Then my daughter was born. and we were like, in November, and we're like, look, I'm not even going to entertain this. We're not even going to look at this yet. But your man kept coming back, and he was like, do you want to bid? And I'm like, whatever. And I was kind of like a bit a bit stale with them, and I was like, no, like I'm not even getting back to them. This.
Yeah, getting annoyed at them.
I was getting thick with them.
So the agent was getting back to you, being like, here, I haven't heard from you in a while. Do you want to try and counterbid this cash buyer? And was this above asking price at this stage?
Yes, this was like, we're now like 15-20% above asking price.
Jesus.
Point, and it's, well, from what I know the original asking price was, the original asking price. Now, we jumped in while there was a bidder. I think this guy had outbid someone else, apparently, again. You know what I mean?
Right.
All this, So then I was like, all right, look, this is the last number, and it was up by like, maybe $5,000 or something like that. It was up $5,000. No, maybe even it was $5,000 up. All right. And then we got a call the next week saying we had it, that they'd backed out. I'm like, what is going on here? There's something a bit fishy,
Now, this is my biggest issue with the property market in Ireland at the moment is like you go out and you buy a steak. You can cut a piece of that steak off and send it in to the government, and they're able to tell you right down to the reg of the truck that brought that cow to the abattoir.
Yeah,
like the transparency buying a €10 steak or €15 steak or whatever is outrageous. There is like nothing. You're just going off some estate agent's whim and word that there is another bidder. Now, I will caveat that and say fake bids, although they do happen, and I hear about them all the time, they don't happen all the time or that often because it's a big risk. That estate agent can technically lose their license, although I've never heard of any agent that has lost their license for it, even though a good few have been caught. However, it's very rare that somebody who is mortgage approved beats a cash buyer in a bidding war, because usually they're able to just buy straight away. But there's no transparency. That's why like the online bidding, I think, is a much better system because one, you don't have to make a phone call. The agent doesn't have to ring 3 or 4 people each time. And I know, look, this podcast is sponsored by Daft, and they've launched a new thing where you can bid online and all that and whatever. But it is actually a much better system because then you actually know there is actually another bidder here that I'm against. And it's not just an email or a phone call from the estate agent being like, here, Mr. O'Brien with 700 grand has just outbid you again buying a gaff for his daughter. Oh my God. So somehow you won anyway.
Somehow we won. And like, I mean, I kind of thought it was a bit fishy anyway, because even when we gave the first bid, that was up from, whatever the current bid was, this estate agent who was fairly robotic, which I didn't like as well, to be fair. I'm a very emotional guy, I'm a very emotional guy. Like, I want him to be like, I want to be wined and dined. Like, like I worked in sales, right? And I didn't get much commission, but for the commission I got, guess what? I'm now your boyfriend. I'm now your partner. I'm your lover, because I'm getting whatever 0.5% of this very small SaaS business sale,
Yeah.
But these guys, like, what commission do you think? What's the average commission estate agents we get?
It's usually between 1.5 and 2%. Usually around 1.5% of the purchase price.
Like, and that just shows, like, when we were viewing for other gaps, there was estate agents like showing up late. Big load of people queuing outside the door, Like this is a serious wedge of cash.
Yeah.
And all they're doing is like, sometimes they don't even print out the, oh, well, look, you can scan the QR code if you want like a little pamphlet or whatever. Like, I had my backup from the very start. Terry was like, you need to calm down. But I honestly think like when you're, like, think about what a waiter gets in terms of a tip and for the amount of service and the amount of like, how are you? How's your day? It just is shooting fish in a barrel for these estate agents. This guy wasn't dodge. I didn't really get a dodgy vibe off him, but I really wanted to be like kind of wind and dine. But so his robot face did kind of make a little when I gave him the original asking price, and he was like, "Thank you very much. That's great. That's very good." He's trying to hide his enthusiasm, kind of thing. So then when I was thinking about that moment and the fact that this is a cash buyer, the reason that I think this is the reason that he gave anyway that they went with us is that they wanted to move quick, and we weren't locked into a kind of which I'm assuming of cash,
but cash is way quicker because he doesn't even need to rely on the bank's valuer then coming out to value it. They're not waiting on drawdown or anything like that. It's literally next day if the solicitors just do the rest.
100%. I was thinking maybe if this is a guy who, maybe the estate agent, this is my theory, if it happened. My actual theory is that it was all bullshit. But my secondary theory is that I think maybe the guy who was paying cash had been asking a lot of questions, had been maybe looking to like get in with the cash bid, and then was maybe looking to, I don't know, like shake down for a few things or whatever like that, or would have just been a nuisance in a while, or maybe the cash hadn't been freed up.
Yeah,
From
maybe he didn't have maybe he didn't have the
sale.
cash. Yeah,
Maybe he didn't have the cash, you know.
or he bought something else. But anyway, look, but all that aside, you
Yeah.
managed to get it. So I don't want to like, because it's a massive deal when you get those keys. It's a great feeling and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's not probably not worth dwelling on it too much, and maybe we can just assume.
No, well,
that.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you something I will dwell on. Right, we got the keys. Well, they didn't give me the keys on the day. So the day the solicitor called and all this. So like all the solicitors been done, and then they had to chase up their solicitor. They couldn't give us the keys. Right. So it was like on the day we closed, and they wouldn't give us the keys. So we had to wait till the next morning for our solicitor to call their solicitor and like whip them into shape or whatever. So that was a bit annoying. You know, like, can you not even just give them to us? Like, what are we going to do? Like, get the keys the day before? Like, start squatting? And there's no way you're just going to like get it back. So I was annoyed with that. And then, so just come to the office and pick up the keys. Excuse me, pick up the keys. Give me the keys. Bring them in a stretch Hummer with some moe for the amount that you're getting for this. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, pick up the key in an envelope, put it in a little box, a little velvet box. Like, does anyone not get? It's just a dime a dozen for them. Like, isn't buying a house is a highly emotional thing, and even just like a flower, like a daisy with a balloon with the keys attached. Like, there was no pageantry to it. It is just so a dime a dozen and just a money spinning operation. It just shows, like, I mean, when people really need the service, then it's there. You know, when people need the money, the service is there. So I just couldn't get over that, you know. But anyway, we moved in. It's great,
and you love it.
It's great, and I love it. I do love it, and like, and I love this gaff. Like I had a dream where I was home. Like, you know, when you have a dream when you're home, like for years, that was my gaff in like, on Griffith Avenue. Like I was whenever I still, and I was like, moved out there when I was like 14 or whatever. But like whenever I dream now, when I dream of home, it's this gaff. It's mad. Like it's 20 years on, and this is the home reference point in my dreams, you know? It's great. It's everything we need.
And maybe if you think about it from the point of view of, let's say, what you paid for it, if that was the asking price and you went in straight away and you said, yeah, look, I'll give you the asking price. And then the agent was like, yeah, deal. Like you would have been happy. So let's maybe put that kind of spin on it. But
sure.
It is, yeah. He's fuming.
No, I just think like, you know.
I know, I get it. Look, mate, I get it. I get these stories in every day. It's really horrific. It's why we ended up doing what we did, because I couldn't deal with bidding wars and estate agents any longer. I was just like, I just don't trust this whole process. So I need to just take that problem and remove it from the whole transaction. And it worked well, but look, that won't work for everyone. But you're in there, you love it, you got the house, and everything's going well, I assume. And you're lucky you don't have to do it up, because I did, as what you said, you couldn't do. That's what we did. We bought a house when prices were, on their way to peaking, and then renovated the whole thing, like back to the bricks, and redid the whole thing at a time when material costs were probably at their highest. But I got mates rates, Desi, Des and Kev.
Oh,
Carol.
Desi Spark.
Yeah, Desi did all the electrics, and Kev and Carol did all the build work for me, and then I had a retrofit company and stuff. So I did okay, but the prices are insane. So you're in the house. Talk us through that kind of, you're an emotional guy. Talk us through the feeling of when you eventually got the keys and you calm down.
No, like the thing is, like I kind of like get a buzz off. I get a real buzz off just like kind of highlighting how far things are from where they should be. And
I'm the same.
It was nothing but complete satisfaction and joy as far as like, me, the kids, and my wife was concerned, and so we get the keys, and it's just like I remember every time we went to go view the house, we were like wrecking the head of the estate agent, because we didn't want to leave, It's just we would just be like looking at everything, measuring everything, and just getting so excited. And I really hope that this feeling doesn't end. I'm sure it will, and I'll get complacent with the whole thing. I'm a firm believer that like looking forward to something is always better than actually the thing itself. But this is pretty sweet. Like I'm waking up every morning and I'm just breathing, a bit of fresh air. And I also thought that there might be some sort of, I don't know, like not dissatisfaction, but I kind of like, I feel like I just come back from the moon, like I'm Neil Armstrong, and I thought he'd come back and be like, no, what now? I've been to the moon. But like, no, like you get it, and then you love it, and it's it's great. And I feel bad as people that probably listen to this, and I understand why you want to be conscious of that, because I feel like, I don't want to sound like a choosy beggar and all this kind of stuff, But it is great if you can get it and just kind of call it your own. Like, I'm looking at the back garden and I'm like, need to get rid of that. Need to get rid of that bush. Never thought I'd be into that sort of part. Need to get rid of that bush. Going to cut that. Like, I'm excited about on Sunday cleaning up all the leaves.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? That's insane. But I'm looking forward to it. Like picking up every single one of them leaves and putting it in a bag. Listen to a podcast,
That's well, that's the whole part of it, and that's the dream that sold us, from a young age, and especially as Irish people. Maybe it's like, I always think it's a hangover of being colonized for centuries. Is that we want our own little piece of the country and our own little place that we own, and we can go out and pick up the leaves or not pick up the leaves if you want. I don't think you should pick up the leaves because it's good for the grass. It's better for biodiversity and all. Leaves are like rotting leaves are like the best fertilizer for grass. Leave them there.
Okay, great, perfect.
Come summer, they'll be gone, and then your soil will be more enriched. And leave your bush as well, because that's good for the little birds and the bees and stuff as well. So,
well, actually, funny you say birds, because I was thinking there when you were saying that, like a bird has like the brain size of like a peanut, right? But yet it still will, make a nest, be preen and proper with it, especially if you're like a bird of paradise, literally like take a leaf to sweep up the dust to make a perfect little ring that's just their own.
I love that video. Yeah, I
love that. It's unreal. It's the most amazing Attenborough thing ever. And then there's a little dance in it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so if a bird just wants to make a nice place to do a little dance in, it's just like how necessary is that in terms of our evolutionary, like I my heart breaks, because I've had such a cushy deal for a while. My heart just breaks for the amount of people that I see that have to just move every single time on a whim of a landlord, and have to move, and they're always like 1 foot in their home, like they want to just completely just lay all the weight on the ground, just sit there, sweep a little leaf, do a little dance, and they don't get that opportunity. So the expectation of that relief, I thought, would be like inflated and not real, but it does match up to what you want it to be. You know what I mean?
Totally. And we're in a similar position to you. Like, and I'm like you in terms of, I'm very jammy. I always land on my feet. But there is that, like, and it's something I'm very conscious of because I hear it every day. I see it every day, is that those people that don't have that security, and especially as a teacher, I see it with a lot of the kids. They don't, like, can you imagine now, you've 2 kids, can you imagine now the thought of you just getting a phone call tomorrow being like, right, you need to go. You're out of the house. Find somewhere else to live. The eviction ban is up in March. Find somewhere else to live within the next 2 months. Thanks and good luck. And then you're on after you're trying to find places, and you're looking like for something big enough for you and your 2 kids. You're looking at 3-4 grand. Like, so
it's insane.
Yeah, so it's just that feeling. So I guess the whole idea of this is people are listening. It's possible, and it's very rare that people can win in a bidding war against a cash buyer. So well done to you. That's phenomenal. And
thank you.
It's doable. You did it. It's possible, and it's a great feeling when you get there. But then also, we are aware of how tough it is. Obviously, anyone that follows me, I think they understand that I'm very aware of that, and it's something I bang on about all the time, and it's always in the news. It's everywhere. Rory Hearn does great work, and he wrote a whole book about it, and all that. I'm looking, and speaking of birds, there's a pigeon. Did you see my pigeon fiasco over the last few days?
No. Oh, okay. Yeah, the pigeons are.
Oh my God, there's a pigeon looking in here at me now in the room. I put a little bird feeder up, right? Because I thought, Maisie would love it. She'd be able to see the birds come in, because it's one of these clear plastic ones with a circle on it. You put it on the window, and it's small. It's supposed to be too small for a pigeon to get in. I was wrong, and now the pigeons will not leave, and I've gotten rid of the bird feeder, and the pigeons are haunting me. I want to kill them. Like, it's looking in at me now, like, and it keeps flying in.
If you can document, because I've never seen a baby pigeon, and I've never seen a dead pigeon, like a dead pigeon, a naturally dead pigeon. So there seems to be some elusive beginning and end cycle of the pigeon life that I've never seen. So maybe you could be the first to document that, like a shark. I've never seen a shark giving birth.
I
So if
gotta
you do
buy a
get a
super
chance,
soaker. I'm gonna buy a super soaker. Apparently that works,
yeah, that's safe. Yeah,
and that's a win-win. It's everyone. Everyone loves a water gun, and then
yeah.
I'm not gonna kill it. But yeah, they're actually haunting me. And then my neighbor called in to say that he went into the toilet and saw a little grey tail in the toilet,
God.
pushed it with the brush for the toilet, and it scurried off. It was a rat. So he called Rent Kill, and they came out and they caught it. And basically, the rat was getting up his waste pipe for his toilet, climbing
Saw
upstairs.
I
Yeah,
saw you post about
I
this.
know. I'm
Oh
sorry.
my
I'm
God,
sorry.
that
I'm
is
sorry.
just nightmare fuel.
Yeah, yeah. So I
I was
need to.
told I was
Go
told
on.
when I was like 7 that there was like some story of a snake climbing up like a drain or
Mm,
whatever like that. And
mm.
from 7 to about 25, I looked like deep into the bowl of every time of a toilet every time I sat down. And this new one with the rat has made me look again. And I was doing great for a while. So thanks for that.
There is a solution. I'm about to ring them today. They come out and they put these rat flaps in, rat trap things. And basically, if there's a rat in there, it can get out, but it can't get back in. So it opens one way and not the other. And they're steel, so they can't chew through them. So I'm ringing them today to come out. We haven't had any, but there's a shitload of building work going on around us. So I'm aware that they're about, and I really do not want to. I hate, like, I would have. Give me a tarantula, give me a snake all
Really?
day, every day. Give me a rat. No, I'm
Mm,
just,
mm, mm,
yeah,
mm,
no,
mm.
they terrify me. So that was this feckin' pigeon will not leave me alone. But anyway, Tony, you're a gentleman. I really appreciate you
Thanks, brother.
taking the time to have a chat, and it's great to see you again, an old school friend.
I
And
know, man.
I worked with your brother. Did I ever tell you that?
In Centra.
Yeah, for about 2 weeks, and oh man, that place! I hated that place. The lads are sound. Terry, and Andy were there. I remember my first day. I went in, and he put me in. The guy who owned it put me in the stock room, and he was like,
Yeah.
put away that delivery, and I'm like, I've never done this. I'm just
Yeah.
walked into. I'm a smart guy. Like, I learned pretty quickly, and I was
Yeah.
like, right, grand. Look, I'll just get on with it. Took me about an hour, and I put everything away. The boxes all over the place. There was no organization. And then he
Yeah.
comes in and starts giving out, being like, Andy'd have that done in half an hour. I'm like, Andy's been working here for 3 years. And I was like, how are you expecting to do that in half an hour? It's literally just my first day. And then, I only last about 2 weeks, but I had great crack with the lads, with your brother and with Terry. And then
They loved it. They just like they were
they
just like
loved it.
hanging out with
Yeah.
their mates. Like there was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that was like Kevin Smith's clerks, the two of them just working there. You know,
Yeah.
all the lads.
Yeah, they had a
Yeah.
great time. I remember one day I rang and I'd sorted with one of the lads to cover my shift because I got trials for like Shamrock Rovers, and I was like, I need to go play
Oh,
these
nice.
trials, and your man was like, no, you can't go, and I was like, I'm not ringing for permission. I'm ringing you to tell you I'm doing Sunday and he's doing Saturday. We just
Yeah.
swapped. I'm just letting you know. It's courtesy call. And he's like, no, I want you to do the Saturday. I was like, well, I'm not going to be there on Saturday. He's going to be there. And I was like, well, look, I'll throw your jumper back down. Let's forget about it.
Yeah, I heard stories about him. Yeah, yeah. Was this
Right.
when you were rocking your fringe?
My long blonde hair.
Your sexy fringe.
Yeah, it was a beautiful, beautiful time.
Yeah, you had like 10,000 thirsty girls following you on MySpace, I recall.
The top 16. Was that
Yeah,
Bebo or was MySpace?
I don't know. I remember you were one of the first lads with like a digital camera or whatever, so you had like some pretty good snaps of yourself up online.
Did I?
You know? Yeah, yeah. I remember that. I mean, like a sexy dude.
No, thanks. One of my other memories of you. We're going off topic here. Was at the afters of Gary Brady's wedding, and you came in with a stack of €50 notes. I think with your face printed on them.
Yeah.
I just like flipping them around. I just see all these old women trying to pick up fake €50 notes.
€50 notes. Yeah, wasn't even invited to the actual wedding ceremony. You just showed up for that.
Yeah, you brought the fun. Anyway, thanks, Tony. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, brother.
I'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, cheers, man. Take care.
Hi, I am just going to pause the podcast for a second to talk to you about some sponsors of the Crazy House Prices podcast. This episode is sponsored by Daft.ie. Daft is Ireland's #1 property portal. Daft has the most properties available for sale and rent and is the preferred national property website amongst consumers in Ireland. So Daft.ie's core vision is to make buying, selling and renting property better for everyone in Ireland. So Daft's mission is to simplify each step of every property transaction in the Irish market to make buying, selling and renting in Ireland simple. That's why Daft.ie build innovative tools like Offers by Daft, an online real-time offers platform that provides never before seen transparency for the Irish consumer when buying a home. Are you looking to buy? Maximise your chances of finding your dream home by visiting Daft.ie, Ireland's #1 property website. Agus sin é le haigh an episode seo of the Crazy House Prices podcast. I loved chatting to Tony. I could talk to him all day, and I'm sure you enjoyed that one. Tony has his own podcast, as I mentioned, the Tony Cantwell Hit Show, and he also has a Patreon where he does extra episodes. I've been a patron of his for a long time now, and I highly recommend listening to his podcast and supporting his Patreon. In fact, if there's anyone whose content you enjoy and they have a way of supporting them, you should do that, because I just think it's a fantastic system based on being sound, and by being sound you get to support the person whose free content you do enjoy. And as always, a special thank you to our sponsors and to my own patrons for supporting the podcast and my Instagram page. If you're looking to buy a home in Ireland, I have wonderful news for you. My book is done. It is being printed and it's now available to pre-order, and it will be officially released at the end of March. You can pre-order it by following the link in the episode description or by checking out the link in my Instagram bio. Or if you're listening after March 2023, then it will be available to buy wherever you get your books. So thank you for listening. Agus slán go fóill.